Right now on CBS 12 News this morning, it's the relief so many people need right now, especially today when it's back to work and school for a new year. We'll tell you where there's a brand new COVID testing site opening up in just a few hours.
And more on the new isolation guidelines. If you get COVID, how long should you quarantine for? The debate's still going on almost 2 years into the pandemic.
And some light showers are moving across the state this morning as a cold front moves in. I'll time out when it gets here.
You're watching CBS 12 News this morning.
Thank you for starting off your 2022 with us. Good morning. I'm Matt Lincoln.
I'm Ashley Glass. We have fireworks for you. Looking good. We also have meteorologist Lauren Oleski back from maternity leave. We are so happy to see you, Lauren. How's baby Oleski? How's it going at the house?
He's good. He woke up like an hour and a half ago, but my husband got him back to sleep. There's not much sleep going on, though.
I know.
In our home.
It'll be like that for a few years.
Right?
You'll survive. We'll help you.
Will I ever sleep again?
Yes.
That's the question. We've got a front that's making its way into the area today. You can actually see this line of rain right now moving across the middle of the state. This will eventually come into our area. It is getting closer to Okeechobee and Indian River counties right now. Otherwise, everyone is waking up to dry conditions. Temperatures are right now right near 70. Winds coming in out of the south to southwest, pulling in some of that humid air for us this morning. But as the winds then change direction, we'll then see the cooler air and the drier air moving in behind that front. So we hover right around 70 for the next couple of hours, and then we slowly increase those temperatures. We're back towards the upper 70s at around 11 o'clock, and then we actually could drop back down to the mid 70s by around noon 1 once that front finally passes through. This is the hour by hour for Delray. It is going to be a little cooler for areas that are a little bit further north. This is 7:30 this morning, so at that point we do see that front now making its way into Indian River and Okeechobee counties. There's 9:15 this morning, pushing further towards the south and then moving down towards the southeast. There's 11 o'clock. At that point, most of us are actually dry. There will probably be a few lingering clouds behind that front boundary, so you might end up with some showers and then a little bit of cloud coverage, and then eventually our skies will be clear, and then we will be seeing a lot more sunshine heading into the later portion of the day. So again, that front slowly making its way off towards the south. We'll talk more about some of the cooler air and the wind that we'll see with this boundary still ahead. Matt, Ashley.
All right, Lauren, thank you. Let's take a look right now on our roads here at 6:02. On-time traffic. Our traffic tracker is rolling along just fine on northbound I-95. The incident that we were telling you about, the crash on the Turnpike southbound up in Hobe Sound, has now been cleared.
I definitely think that the holidays and the large gatherings played a pretty large part in why everybody's trying to get tested now.
This morning, so many people are trying to take a COVID test before the big return to work and school today, but the lines are incredibly long at the testing sites. Some of them forced to close early. The at-home tests, impossible to find right now. So we're all coming up short here as it's back to reality today. At the same time, Florida's starting the new year by setting single-day records for COVID caseloads, twice as high compared to the peak of last summer's surge when the Delta variant fueled the infections across the state.
So right now, new efforts are underway to boost capacity at testing sites as the rapid spread of new variant drives up demand.
And we have team coverage for you this morning. Sam's at the live desk with the back and forth on the guidance for quarantine periods. Madeline Montgomery is covering masks coming back in county buildings.
But we start with Terry Hornstein on another angle. A new testing site opening today. She's live in Boynton Beach. Terry, already seeing a long line there behind you.
Yeah, we are seeing a long line of cars since we last saw you just about a half hour ago. They opened the gates, so we moved inside so you can get a better look. We're talking about 10, 11 cars here, almost a dozen already waiting, and this testing site doesn't open for several hours. And you know, we've all seen the long lines, whether it's on TV or you've actually been in one of the lines, just wrapping around areas for blocks. I do want to tell you though, when we did drive in here, it is a relatively big park, so hopefully they won't have that problem where there's overspill onto the roadway, onto Congress Avenue here. But, you know, in some cases, these lines have really been so long, people waiting for hours. And really, it's part of this is because it's right after the holidays. People traveled, they were in large groups, they were with family. And with the Omicron variant so contagious, Florida numbers just really soaring right now. The state positivity rate over 26%. In Palm Beach County, it's above 30%. And school is back in session this week across South Florida. So city commissioners say the time is now to get tested.
We're about to jump back in to the school year. We need to know if we've been exposed, whether or not we're contagious.
And I tried to find places, but I would turn in and you literally wouldn't even be able to turn in.
Yeah, so again, these cars waiting here will have a wait of about 3 hours until this site opens at 9 a.m. It'll be open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. They do want to let you know to enter off of Congress Avenue to get in here, and you'll snake through the park. You'll, of course, see the line of cars here. We'll be out here all morning long keeping an eye on this situation, but hopefully with more sites opening in our area, they'll alleviate a little bit of the issues with this backlog of so many people trying to get tested right now in our area.
You have to know it's going to be a hassle when you get there to those testing sites, but at least you know what you're getting into here. We want you to know, too, all of your options to get a test. There are places all throughout the county. Let's list out some of the big ones for you right now. Gaines Park, West Palm Beach, the Wells Recreation Center in Riviera Beach, the South County Civic Center in Delray, and the Mid-County Senior Center in Palm Springs. All of these sites open very soon. You saw the lines are already forming too. They open at 9 this morning.
And this morning, as we begin 2021, there are some places you're going to need a mask if you want to go inside. Masks are required once again in all Palm Beach County owned buildings. Our team coverage continues with CBS 12 News' Madeline Montgomery. She's live in Palm Beach Gardens. Maddie, what can you tell us?
Matt, I'm over here at the North County Courthouse. I'm over by the DMV side. There's a tax collector's office in here. You might be handling your registration, going to court for something. There's so many things you can do in this building and many other county buildings, but no matter what you're doing, you are going to need one of these. And thankfully, a lot of these buildings are going to have signs like this one that remind you that you need a mask, but it's honestly hard to remember. Masks haven't been required in county buildings since back in November. The requirement ended in mid-November, so we have a list for you guys about where exactly you are going to need to mask up to help you remember and, keep you from getting into trouble. So spots you're going to need them again at courthouses, at the DMV, at the tax collector's office, the sheriff's office, or if you're visiting someone in jail, and you're going to need them at animal services, at county-run senior centers, and any buildings that county workers operate out of. And this rule is going for employees and folks stopping by. And the mayor of Palm Beach County, Robert Weinroth, wants to make sure people know that if they are not obeying these rules, if they are not bringing their mask and wearing it properly, law enforcement can remove them and issue them a citation for trespassing. So keep that in mind and just keep one of these in your car, because you never know when these rules are going to pop back up, as seen this morning. Reporting live in Palm Beach Gardens, Madeline Montgomery, CBS 12 News.
All right, Maddie, thank you. And still 2 more days off for kids in Palm Beach County schools. When school does start back up on Wednesday, all adults will be required to wear masks. The district says the mandate applies to all employees, vendors, and visitors while indoors. Right now, masks are still optional for students. We also asked the Martin and St. Lucie County school districts about their mask policies. They tell us they have no plans to implement a mandate right now.
It's 6:07 right now for all of us parents with our children vaccinated against COVID. We have our eye on pediatric boosters this morning, and we could see a move on that front as soon as today. See, the FDA is expected to authorize Pfizer's booster shot for all 12 to 15-year-olds and for children 5 to 11 years old with compromised immunity. Those 16 and older, they're already eligible for a booster. So right now, brand new data from the American Academy of Pediatrics shows COVID cases in children are on the rise, a recent 50% increase week over week. Pfizer says, according to its research, their booster provides strong protection against the Omicron variant.
At 6:08 this morning, we are learning that infectious disease expert Dr. Anthony Fauci is expecting some further clarification about the CDC's shorter isolation guidelines.
So the newest guidelines change the quarantine period from 10 days to 5 days for vaccinated people who aren't showing any symptoms. Sam picks up our team coverage now from the live desk. There's some major pushback, Sam, about these changes.
Yeah, Matt and Ashley, this morning, the new guidelines they got a lot of criticism from health professionals because they didn't specifically say a negative COVID test is required to leave isolation. So now Dr. Anthony Fauci says the CDC is considering revising the recommendations to include that negative test. I want you to take a look here at those recommendations as they stand right now. After a positive COVID test, the isolation period is shortened from 10 days to 5 if you don't have any symptoms. But you should continue wearing a mask for at least another 5 days after that. A negative COVID test not required. And the CDC also now says people who are fully vaccinated and boosted do not need to quarantine after exposure exposure at all. Dr. Anthony Fauci says part of the reason this change is taking place is because they want to get people back into the workplace quicker if they don't have symptoms.
And in the second half of a 10-day period, which would normally be a 10-day isolation period, the likelihood of transmissibility is considerably lower in that second half of a 10-day period. And for that reason, the CDC made the judgment that it would be relatively low risk to get people out.
Dr. Fauci is also still urging people who have not yet gotten vaccinated and boosted to do so and to mask up indoors as an extra layer of protection, as health experts are predicting a peak in Omicron cases in the U.S. in the coming weeks. Ashley.
All right, Sam, 6:10 is the time. Let's take a live look from our nation's capital here, where this week the U.S. Supreme Court will hold a special session to hear arguments on the Biden administration's vaccine mandates. One mandate requires workers at large companies to be vaccinated or tested weekly, and the other applies to healthcare workers. The High Court will hear the arguments on the legal challenges this Friday. Well, 6:10 is the time. We're just getting started here on CBS 12 News this morning at 6. Like so many of you, I have family trying to get home this morning. So for all the nanas and grandpies out there, we're checking the flight forms, the hassles to expect at the airport this morning, helping you make the trip home as smooth as possible.
Plus, the race is on to fill South Florida's 20th congressional district. Everything you need to know about the candidates on the ballot and the early voting now underway.